India has called for forming a G3 with China and the United States to lead the world. After the US released its National Security Strategy report, India's Minister of Information said that India's technological strength is also very strong. Among the world's top three, so he proposed a G3 to jointly shape the future of global technology. Regardless of Indian fighter jets crashing at air shows or being shot down by Pakistan, let's assume for a moment, how could India actually join a G3? Logically speaking, the US once proposed a G2 with China, and China refused it. So China won't be interested in a G3. But let's assume China agrees. Even then, a US-India G2 might be barely workable, yet the US likely wouldn't want that either. According to the US report, if China becomes the world's #1 power, then India would become America's biggest rival and must be guarded against. As for China is already surrounded by robots, so no need to pick it. Because recently some Indian netizens posted a video showing China's border patrol robots appearing along the China-India border. The claim was that in the future, Chinese people will become giant babies protected by robots, and their combat capability will keep declining. If the US or India can't defeat China, then the Chinese robots will uprise, eventually defeat the Chinese people due to their laziness. India could indeed rank among the top 3 on Earth by cashing in on its population potential. What kind of potential is it? To solve Western problems, of course, welfare burdens, corruption, and labor shortages. For example, Russia lacks labor and has announced it will bring in Indian workers in unlimited numbers. Germany has plans to introduce millions of Indian professionals in the next 10 years. The UK, Finland, Japan, Israel, the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and more are already importing Indians. You might ask, they can help with labor shortages, but how do they solve welfare and corruption problems? That's where you are missing the point. Domestic officials want to skim off the top, right? Domestic citizens want welfare. So, who actually works and generates income? Labor does. In that sense, Indian people contribute to these countries. Of course, they are both part of the solution and part of the problem. But compared with other ethnic groups, Indian immigrants are relatively unlikely to engage in terrorist attacks. Aside from a possibly higher rate of sexual crimes, their overall crime rate is often much lower than that of native citizens. You see, every coin has two sides, and since it's the host's government that allows them in, and you have to admit this is also India's unique path to expanding its global influence. And the scale effect will only grow larger and faster. Indian migrants don't have it easy either. Russia sends many of them to cold, remote Siberia. Israel places incoming Indian Jews on the front lines near the Lebanon-Israel border. Netanyahu then do band deals. Remember that? Israel is expected to add about 7,000 Indian Jews to that area before 2030. The Indian government actually supports this approach. It leverages India's population advantage and sending Indian migration at a good price. Remittances and migration have become a core way for India to ease its foreign exchange shortages. New immigrants everywhere are struggling just to survive. It's very hard for them. For India, outward migration is currently the best option. For host countries, bringing in immigrants is a joint choice by voters and politicians. Otherwise, politicians wouldn't get elected, right? After all, it's all about democratic votes. Not bringing immigrants doesn't work, bringing them in recklessly doesn't work either. Indian immigrants end up being a not banned option. So in a way, India has found a unique bottom-up path to influencing the world. If you don't have more people than I do, then your home becomes my home. For many countries, India is the only option. People of Indian origin have already become the UK Prime Minister, the Mayor of New York City, Fortune 500 CEOs, and Kamala Harris almost became the US President, remember that? In a few more years, politicians of Indian origin will represent many countries on the global stage. A G3 may indeed become reality. But when the G3 finally forms, it will also disappear. Because by then, the United States may have already become India. The US represented by Indians might even become the world's only superpower. Do you like that fantasy? Follow me an Eastern perspective to see the world.